going on, we have this idea that there's a number of denominations, and in the Western Church, the Catholic Church was the main church that the Protestant church is branched off of. And if we look at this tree here with the apples all around it, and we think about that tree representing the Catholic Church, which was the defender of the Christian faith for many centuries in Europe, in the West, what we find, though, is as the Protestants started to branch off, we found that the apples don't fall far from the tree. And so if we look at this tree that we're calling the Catholic Church, oh, well look, right here we have a Lutheran apple. Why, how about that? This is a great apple, because this apple came up with salvation by faith alone and grace alone, and sola scriptura, where Scripture is our only rule of faith. Yeah, this is a good apple, but oh, look at this though. It's still keeping a lot of the original ideas from this original tree, because it's the closest. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, at least this Lutheran apple didn't. And it still has things like perpetual virginity of Mary, immaculate conception beliefs, the real presence in communion, and infant baptism. Isn't that interesting?
In fact, the one who coined the solas of the Reformation, the one who coined sola fide by faith alone, actually taught and believed in baptismal regeneration.
Well, that's unfortunate that maybe this apple couldn't let go of some of those things that weren't necessarily bound within sola scriptura. And so anyway, that's what we see with this Lutheran apple. Now, look at this, an Anglican apple. It's a little further away from the tree. I found it, and it has some good ideas and good concepts. It actually has a combination of some Lutheran and Reformed concepts, even some Catholic ones that aren't bad. But yeah, apostolic succession with bishops. It still insists on following back to Peter as the first pope, even though we don't read about that in scriptures, and we also read that Peter was even married and things like that, so that's unfortunate. And yeah, it does still have beliefs, some in purgatory. It still has some with infant baptism. Again, hard to let go of that tradition in the real presence in communion and so forth. Doesn't see the symbology that you see in those things in the scriptures. But still, a very worthy apple. Oh, look, here's one right here. It's a Wesley apple. Wow, the founder of Methodism. Again, some great concepts from Wesley, a very revivalist attitude in a lot of ways. But, yeah, there's still some prayers for the dead and some other things that, even branching from Anglicanism, couldn't get rid of some of those high church ideas. And yeah, see, some of these still have infant baptism, but not all of them. But baptismal regeneration is in some of his sermons, but some sermons it isn't. So he was sort of slowly getting away from the center tree there. And so, as you can see, as these apples continue further from the tree, they tend to not hang on to those traditions as much, and they do things more based off what they're saying, sola scriptura. So, what I wanted to basically point out by this example is that a lot of these beliefs are traditions that were hard to let go of, and I believe that the Lutherans, the Anglicans, and a lot of these baptismal regeneration churches, as you see churches that get further from the tree and churches that actually tend to not have to be hung up on the traditions as much and just focus on the scriptures, they tend to all have believers' baptism, which I believe is the more accurate way to represent it. All right, have a blessed day. Bye-bye.